Welcome back to We Needed Roads, and joining me today is Claire from the W Rated podcast. As today we're heading into the liminal spaces of Kane Parsons' debut feature, Backrooms, based on the internet post that had millions of people questioning whether that empty room at work might actually be a portal to another dimension. We'll be talking existential dread, analog horror, and asking the big question: how the hell did someone taking a picture of a creepy room in Pennsylvania somewhere turn into a full-blown movie and now potentially a franchise? Is Backrooms what happens when Severance gets spiced with the Blair Witch Project? It's a film where like endless yellow hallways and the fear of being watched collide into one giant nightmare. Or is this a concept that worked better as a YouTube rabbit hole than a feature-length experience? So we're going to get into the good, the bad, and a moment to have us checking over our shoulder every time a fluorescent light flicks. So grab a map that won't help, don't trust any door you find, and definitely listen to your therapist. Cue the music. So, welcome back to the We Needed Roads podcast, your favourite plutonium-powered pop culture podcast. We're available on all major podcast platforms, and you can see us as well as hear us if you subscribe and follow us on YouTube and Spotify, which would always be greatly appreciated. You can follow us on our socials at Needed Roads on Twitter, We Needed Roads on Insta, and We Needed Roads on TikTok. I'm your host, Neil, and you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory78 on Threads, where I'm most active, and also on Substack at Neil Needed Roads, where if you subscribe, you will get the latest episodes before they drop anywhere else, for free as well. And joining me today, making, I think, your fourth appearance now?
I think so.
I feel like it's four. Is Claire from the W Rated podcast, who just once in a while likes to watch a movie that isn't completely terrible. That's not me like saying Claire watches bad movies. Explain, Claire.
So, W-Rated podcast, we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. We are trying to watch every movie on the bottom 100, which is an active list, so it does change. So there's plenty that we've already covered that are no longer on the list, and more terrible ones have gone on. And then we also cover the annual Golden Raspberry Awards, because we realised pretty much every film we cover has at some point been nominated for one of those. So why not give ourselves a terror challenge, and within 6 weeks we tend to watch the 20 worst movies of the previous year. It's a lot. It's broken my brain. The new Scary Movie comes out tomorrow. I've already seen it. Posted our review of it today. It's been absolutely trashed by all other critics. We were pro. We liked it, and we're like, oh no, is it that we have no taste, or do they just not know the depths for which other films are really bad?
I mean, I am excited because that is the first. I have kind of stayed away from knowing anything about it because I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen actually another critic I follow, and they were like, "Am I the only person who really liked it then?"
Good. Okay, there's more of us out there. We exist. We're all in the back rooms.
Well, speaking of, let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck moments from the Backrooms. Is it Backrooms or the Backrooms?
It's just Backrooms.
It's just Backrooms, right? So Claire,
drop the. It's cleaner.
Yeah, like, Foo Fighters. So firstly, Claire, your quick non-spoiler thoughts.
Really clever, fun, stylish thriller that leaves you with more questions than answers, which is exactly the best thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely on that. I knew nothing about the lore going in. I was just like, there are a lot of teenagers around for this. But yeah, I same as you. I really enjoyed it. I liked how it didn't stay to the normal tropes of this kind of found footage mix of horror film. But like you, I wanted so much more. And I suppose that's mark of a good film because I came out going, oh, that's a really cool idea. I want more of that idea. I want that idea explored.
But then I'm scared of them exploring it because what I don't want, I wouldn't mind another film at some point or some sort of follow-up, but I don't want 100 of them because the best thing about it is the unknown. That's why these characters are so intrigued. That's why we as an audience are so intrigued. I don't want this to be another franchise that just gets, torn apart. And it should be weird and wonderful, and we all should have different theories on it. And I love that.
And I mean that's one of the goods for me straight away is the lore and the story behind the film is amazing. I've kind of got a Crypt Notes version of this because there was so much on it. So yeah, firstly, if you don't know, the Backrooms were a fictional liminal creation from a 4chan thread back in 2019. The thread gathered pace, fans began inventing their own lore for what basically began from a picture of a creepy room in Pennsylvania. And it was this idea that there was a never-ending series of rooms of different types, and fans began inventing different levels and expanding out the lore more and more. This led to a 16-year-old Kane Parsons making a short animation based on a concept that racked up over 70 million views on his YouTube channel. Following on his success, Parsons made 22, I think, more short films over the last 4 years, expanding the mythology of the concept, with his last installment coming in 2024. Now, in 2026, A24 have just bankrolled as a feature adaptation for the now still only 20 years old Kane Parsons.
My favourite thing about that was I saw an article that said when I believe it was James Wan who contacted him and said we want to turn this into
Oh, cool.
a feature and we want you involved in whatever way. Didn't know until they all turned up for the meeting that he was only 16 at the time. Like, definitely thought he was like just an actual adult. And Kane Parsons brought his dad along with him to the meeting because he didn't know if it was real or not. I just thought that was lovely. And like, how cool that even though discovering he's 16, they were like, absolute yes, like, come on in.
So the premise of the film is Renetta Rentfer's therapist adventures into this other dimension in search of her missing patient, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Now, the cast also features Mark Duplass, Finn Bennett, and Nikita Maxwell. Not a bad cast to assemble for your first film. And I mean, again, on the A24 thing, is it really a gamble to give 11 million is not a gamble for a film, but it is when you give it to a 20-year-old and let them build a 30,000 square foot set. And it's so great, though, to see Shudo taking that kind of gamble on a young filmmaker and an original idea.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. You're like, God, that's expensive to build with that set. But actually, how much was that? They probably hired a cheap factory, built it once. And even though it's a horror, there's actually only really one sequence with CGI, which is kind of an extended sequence with a certain character. Actually, no, there's a few bits of CGI with different characters. But like, this is such a low budget film because it just doesn't need it. And so they put the budget where they need, which is on the set design. And like, what an amazingly fun film this must have been to set dress. Like, just creating all the weird furniture that, like, it's all uncanny valley. Everything, you recognize it, but there's something not right about it. And what fun to just be like, make it weirder.
Just walking in the room. What's your job today? You're the guy who's gonna stick shoes half into the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that was so creepy. There were so many things like that were so creepy that I was like, is it a shoe or a foot? Like, is it a mannequin or is it a dead body? Yeah. Like, that was the thing that really creeped me out. I'm just trying to find, sorry if I look distracted, because one of the things that I noticed when the credits rolled was I recognised a lot of the producers from the film. So I'm just trying to get IMDb to load for me, if it will. So yes, you mentioned that like Mark Duplass is one of the cast, but he obviously is the creator of the Creep horror films that came out like nearly 20 years ago, which were shoestring budget, mega successful. And then I also noticed that Osgood Perkins was one of the producers, he recently did The Monkey for Neon. He also did a film that I think in the UK was called The Black Coat's Daughter, which was not a particularly good film. It stars Emma Roberts and the girl who played Sabrina in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I can't remember her name, recently in Industry as well.
Yeah.
It is not a particularly great film at all, but oh my God, it gave me the chills. It made me so uncomfortable. And there's a couple of scenes from that still sit with me, even though on a whole, I really didn't think it was that good a film. The bits that worked were so wonderful. And so, yeah, they gave this crazy budget to a baby, but it's like, well, actually, and you've got Sean Levy as one of the producers as well. You have surrounded him with amazing producers, an amazing support team who are going to help him get his original idea into the world. But if he's there going, well, I know how I did it at home on my camcorder or on my iPhone, but I want to do this on a bigger scale, he can then go to them and they'll help him. But it's still entirely his idea.
Well, on that, did you see the video? Duplass actually put a video out saying, there was like this theory that, he's
the
like
ghost director. Yeah.
Which is hilarious because I literally saw Poltergeist on Monday as part of Spielberg's season. I was like, it's Toby Hooper's film.
Yeah,
So
but
like the
that's
whole thing back then really has been going on for years.
absolutely, but it really sucks that like before this film had even come out, the people were like, "Well, a 20-year-old couldn't possibly do it," and I'm like, "I'm sorry," but when Star Wars came out, when Jaws came out, when Coppola, like all of those guys were doing these things in their early 20s, and we look at them now like, "Oh my god, they were the best to do it." Well, at some point, someone had to believe in them as little babies that they could do it. So why are we not? Whereas now we get a young person, it's like, well, they couldn't possibly have done it, and it's like, why can you believe one but not the other? But looking at this like amazing production crew, I absolutely believe he did it. I'm not saying that he walked in and was immediately the best director on set and that he could go and do an independent film completely by himself, but he clearly has good vision, good ideas, and they set him up with the perfect support group to get him from finish line, and he'll have learnt so much, and I think he's going to have a really long career.
Well, yeah, I mean, starting at 20, well, I mean, technically 16 really, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, like you say, as debut films go. And the one thing it made me think of was last year we had something similar, which was Shelby Oaks, which was
Mm.
a YouTube based show that
Yes.
then kind of got turned into a thing. And this I immediately preferred to that because as
Mhm.
good as Shelby Oaks was, it didn't feel like an original film as much of a calling card for this young director going, I can do this, see that reference, see that reference,
Mm.
this is that bit from there, this is that bit from there. And I was watching, and eventually I think it gets towards the end, I was like, oh, we're going to get hit Hereditary in a minute, aren't we? And like, it was just, as you were working your way through the film, it's like, but again, it there's nothing wrong with that. Like a director that young who's come from that non-traditional background, coming out and making something that absolutely
Mhm.
looks like one of those films of aping all the masters, then fair play.
Yeah.
But now go and do it something original. Now
Yeah.
you've shown you can do it now. So I can't wait to see what that guy does next.
Mhm. But that's also one of the things that I think most struck out to me about Backrooms. When we came out, we were me and my partner we were having a discussion, and the thing that we enjoyed the most was how restrained it was.
Yes.
Like most of the fear that I was feeling was anticipation and apprehension in my own head. There was nothing to be scared of. It was an empty corridor in a fictional movie. But the restraint of the camera, the restraint of dialogue, and just allowing the eeriness of the concept to be the thing to take you over. Just again, such a young director. Other directors, they feel like they have to prove everything they can do, and in this, he almost showed nothing. He was like, "No, I'm just gonna be a static shot in a scary room," and it was exactly what the film called for.
I mean, yeah, you've got a great point there with the atmosphere and the tension and the slow burn. And there were very few jump scares, and probably the biggest jump scare for me of the whole film, it takes place in daylight.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the car crashes into the house in, I think, her flashback.
Yeah, that was the bit that I jumped at that bit as well.
Same. My whole screening did the same.
Yeah.
And that's such a great inversion in a horror film because, with the creepy corridors, you're tense. Like you say, you're tense. You're expecting something to jump out at you. So if the audience is expecting it, why would you? It's clever to not do that. And we all have that association when we've watched films over the years. If you're in somewhere darkly lit, creepy corridor, something's going to jump out at us. Oh, we're in a brightly lit room and we're out of there. Oh, it's fine. And the second you let your guard down, boom, a car smashes through the wall. And you have mentally relaxed, and then boom, they hit you with that big jump scare.
No, it's brilliant. And I don't know if you've ever had your own experience in a liminal space, but I have had my own special Disney World liminal space experience.
Right.
I worked there when I was 19 and I got forgotten about, and I got left to shut up one of the stores at 3 a.m, and no one told me that I was meant to shut it at 2 a.m, so you would shut it and then clean. I was meant to leave there at 2 a.m and walk over to the next shop where everyone else would be and help them, and then we'd all close down at 3 a.m and go home together. So I just sat in this scary shop, which wasn't scary in the day, but at 3 a.m when it's pitch black and you can hear the cockroaches and the grasshoppers, and all you can hear is a version of Zippity Doo Dah without lyrics going on over and over again. And you can just see doors into the unknown corridors that live underneath Walt Disney World, because that is scary as hell down in those corridors. And it was the first thing I thought of when I saw this film. I was like, I've been here. I've done this.
Yeah, I don't have anything that traumatic. I know one of my first jobs out of uni, I was literally There was a very bad reality TV show in the early 2000s called I'm Famous and Frightened by UK Living
Yes,
TV,
I remember. Oh, Living. They so
presented
charmed.
by Keith Chegwin, and they were doing it at Dover Castle. So I saw this in the newspaper, like the local Dover newspaper. Found production company's name. I've just graduated. Do you need any runners? Yes. Can you get 4 of us together? So I called my friends up, and we were like runners on the shoot for 3 days. And the scale of the production was insane. But the single greatest thing was one of the people on it was Roy Walker from Catchphrase,
Nice.
who ripped the piss out of the whole thing so much that they didn't realize he was ripping the piss out of it, which just made it even better. Before I go too much of a tangent, I just have to tell the Colin Farrell story. So he's out on the battlements, and they're looking around with the camera and like, oh wow, the color of the sky is good over there. Yeah, that's the docks in the ferry terminal. That's why there's loads of the sky's orange over there. But it's stuff obviously they're not saying. And then he said, Roy, you hearing any names? Yeah, Farrell, Colin Farrell. No one gets the joke at all. We're like, yeah, us behind the camera just kind of like going, what? How have they not? And then the presenter's just clueless, missed it, and it's like, well, there was lots of Irish in Dover around the time, so maybe. And we're just like, and Roy Walker was doing the gym, looking at the camera thing from the office beforehand, and but so the liminal space thing on the very last night, one of our jobs was we had to put all the chairs out in the main kind of keep area for the live bit at the end, which they probably spent more time with it not being live and showing video packages, and the crowd got bored and wanted to leave, and we had to try and stop them.
Fair.
Me and my friend then had to take all the chairs down to the depths of the basements of Dover Castle at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's a big nope. That's just a big nope.
I mean, one of us, yeah, we would have been bricking it, but because there was 2 of us and we're just like chatting bullshit, but we just like, if we were there by ourselves. Finally got to the rap party at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, that was.
But there's a young couple in this that are the assistants in the shop, and me and my partner within we're not talkers with a movie, but we both leant into each other and went, that's us, because he 100% would be straight in the back rooms. He has a habit, he has in the past, he flies drones, and he loves an abandoned warehouse. He loves going in and recording and filming and exploring. Whereas I'm like, I got scared in Disney World. I'm not going in nowhere. And we literally were like, yeah, 100%, that is us. Nailed. And I thought, again, it's really nice that, like, there's only really 4 characters in this film, but I recognised people I knew in all of them. Like, they felt very real.
So yeah, I mentioned earlier on like the Severance and Blair Witch vibes, and I found an article on Wired where they claim Dan Erickson, curator of Severance, said that the Backrooms memes were one of the many sources of inspiration for Severance.
Totally tracks. Tracks. If only they'd have found a room of goats.
That's what the whole Backrooms franchise is going to be, isn't it? They could milk this like a goat for years. But so set and sound design, yeah, it looks amazing. Like you said, I think what did the most heavy lifting in terms of the terror and the noise was the sound design, because it was a sound that made you on edge and like,
especially that repeated foreign language audio tape, because I kept being like, what is it saying? Is it a warning? Is it someone in that control center saying, don't come here, please go back, please go back? And I was like, when's it going to cycle into the English? And I kept trying to wait to hear if there were bits of English coming through.
And it never did it?
No.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, there are a lot of languages, and which implies that there are a lot of back rooms in a lot of places.
One thing that made me laugh was like, obviously, when we get giant pirate, weird-looking Clark later on.
Terrifying.
Initially terrifying, but then once you kind of get over that, I thought he was kind of goofy looking. I was like,
oh yeah,
and like as Mary's like escaping from him, I was like, he's not like really that fast. Like you need to get away if you just like relax.
But I felt like this, and I started to relax because when he first turned up, he scared the shit out of me, and then I was like, we're good, and then it's fine, and because I know he's coming, I know what he looks like. But then there's the bit where she gasses herself and she sort of half passes out, and he gets to her leg. Then he was scary again.
Yeah.
So he's not passed out.
But it's a sound that makes him scarier.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like you say, you've got buzzing lights, you've got distant footsteps, you've got the echoes, you've got the mechanical noises. There's tension there when nothing's even happening.
Yeah.
Which is, like you say, which does it so well. Need to talk about the acting as well. I mean, come on, your first film at 20 and you get Oscar-nominated and probably future Oscar winner easily, Renetta Rensfer in your film.
Amazing. She's just such a pleasure to see, even in bad films. And I like she just seems to be doing such a scattered things. Was this her first official American film? Like her first...
Maybe film, because she was in
Yeah.
Presumed Innocent on Apple last year. And I was like, oh, that's for Worst Person in the World and Sentimental Value.
So I did wonder if this was her first like full English language movie, and she's great in it though. She's great in everything. And again, it uses her really wisely, that like this only, in my opinion, this only becomes her film in the second half. It's 100% Choose Your Ejiofor's film.
Oh yeah.
For the first 50%. And then it does a really nice, similar to Psycho, does a really nice flip.
Yeah, when halfway through.
Yeah, you flip the view of the main character because the new main character is going looking for the original main character, and I thought that was really smart. Made sense as to why she was there. They used her at the start very subtly.
Yeah, no. Because I think that's the thing of like not explaining too much, because I was like, right, well, when we get the flashbacks to her, she's going to be tied into this somehow, and no, it doesn't tell you really. It's...
Well, I was convinced that in one of the flashbacks, you were going to find out the reason her mum was crazy was because her mum had been to the back rooms. But that never, it just, I guess, is telling you that she's comfortable dealing with actual on-edge crazy people. That she's comfortable in, like, non-natural, so it, like, implies that her mum was a shut-in and that she wasn't allowed to go outside as a child. Which, again, makes sense as to why when she first goes into back rooms, she's not as scared as you would expect her to be, because she's comfortable, or can be comfortable, in that sterile environment because of the way she was brought up. So I thought it was nice.
I mean, let's talk the scientist angle, because we see Mark Duplass a couple of times in it, and the second time I saw him, all the quick flash of him, I was like, okay, I'm definitely getting Cabin in the Woods vibes here. This is what it's going to kind of be. It's going to be some kind of, and it kind of could be that, but we still don't know enough about the story really. There's no like explanation given.
That was another nod to Severance for me, in that like the scene we just see him at home with his family making popcorn, but like he does know that he has this other life where he's just watching all these people. But I thought that was very, very fun. And it also raised the question to me of like intervention. He obviously knows these people are wandering around. Do they ever intervene? Like, that's...
Oh, there's a million questions. Like when she asked him, goes, what happens to me after this? And the fact he doesn't say anything really.
Well, it's like she's still in the rooms. Like, she's in a safe part of the rooms with people who clearly can come and go. But is she ever going to be allowed to get out? And they're clearly somewhat local, because Duplass's character sees the commercial for the store. So
it has to be regional.
It has to. So, I have the question. I think she's still in the back rooms and will never be allowed to leave.
Now, one of the strangest and best and greatest things about my screening was audience reaction. I went to a 20-6 showing in Dover on a Friday. So I was like, oh, and it was half term as well. And I was like, oh, you know, Mandalorian's out as well. This is going to be fine. It's not going to be that busy. It's a small indie horror film. Was I wrong? I usually, when I go and see a film, I get my usual seat. I've got a good couple of buffer seats between me. I've got no one behind me, no one to the right of me. I'm kind of back row to the right as far as I can get. With how many adverts and trailers you get these days, you know that the start time of the film is going to be about 25 minutes to half an hour after that start time. So, but even for this film, there was probably 3/4 of the cinema full half an hour before the film even started. So I was like, this is strange. Still had my buffer seat. 10 minutes after the film started, 2 teenagers come in, and I was like, oh God, on their phones. I was like, just, and then the second they sit down, one of them explained to the friend what they'd missed, but they were whispering very quietly, and I was like, okay, fair enough. They weren't like, there's like, and they're like, phones off. Everyone was like, okay, so they were late, but good behaviour.
They figured it out, yeah.
And then as the film went on, one, I sucked into the film, so I didn't notice any other sort of behaviour. But then the audience, it was all teenage kids, like pretty much, and they were so locked in. They absolutely loved it. When the film finished, 2 kids who sat next to me literally texted me like that excitement of like when you've seen something awesome, and they were just like, "Oh, so what do you think?" He said, "Dude, did you see it?" I said, "I knew nothing about it before I came in." So why did you come to see it then? I was like, because I know it's supposed to be this like awesome new horror film. And like they then spent about 10 minutes explaining the lore of the YouTube shorts to me, and I was like, do you know what? Cinema is in good hands. Like, if you've got that behind the camera, and you've got an audience, and the audience that is the audience that all cinema are chasing, like that all movie companies are chasing. The young 15, 16-year-old kids who are addicted to their phones, and you can't get them to concentrate on anything for that much of time. they did it for that film. They did it for Backrooms, which was like what, an hour 45, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, we didn't have that experience with Backrooms. We didn't have a bad experience, but I didn't really notice the people around us. But we had that exact experience for Obsession. Big group of like 15 or so teenagers all came in, went past us, and sat on the row behind us, and we were like, "Oh no, this is going to be bad." And there was a lot of chitter and chatter in the trailers, and then just as the film started, one of them shushed the group, was like, "Shh." And it was lovely. And then there was an occasional like little thing, but 100% about the film. It was like an
Yeah.
actual reaction. And then when it ended, they were all like chittering and chattering outside the door, waiting for each other at the toilet, talking about how much it scared them. And I was like, oh, the kids are okay.
Today, as we record this, Backrooms has made 136 million worldwide. Today, it's literally done 100 million just in the US. So it's on course to beat A24's Oscar winner, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which has done 148 million. And it does need to go a little bit further, but I think it's going to do it. It needs 198 million to topple Mighty Supreme, to then be A24's biggest film of all time. It's not even been out for a full week yet. It's absolutely going to do it.
It's crazy. And you've got to think as well, Everything Everywhere All at Once got re-released to get that amount of budget. This is doing it within the first 2 weeks. Absolutely crazy. But so well deserved. And it's a cinema film. Like you need to see this, not even on the biggest screen possible, but in the darkest room possible.
With the exit sign just flashing on and off.
That was all I could see in the corner of my screening, was a really bright. If I shuffled down in my seat, I could almost not see it, and it would just every so often like there.
See, that's why I always bring my emergency hoodie with me, so that if I pull the hood up, it blocks out the sign. Yeah, exactly. It just I can't deal with it sometimes in certain films. Now let's move on to the bad. There's some bad, but it's not. It's not what I would call bad. Like this isn't. These are just like minor nitpicks, but I know exactly why they are why they are, if that makes sense. So first, most obvious thing for me, I wanted more. That end shot of Dr. Klein, like as one of the denizens of the Backrooms, was cool, but I wanted more than just that little tease. Like when Phil suggests, "Oh, doors are opening up everywhere," show us that. Like I'm sure A24 had the budget for like one big FX shot where you see these doors opening up all over. That would have been really cool, because then you would have been like, oh shit, or you have that pullback shot of like all them people monitoring them all over the world. That would have been really cool.
I would have liked that. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Even just a door with like, an old school science door with like the circle in. Even just a shot of that like flapping open, or you could just see in the circle and just seeing hundreds of people sat at computers. That could have been really cool.
Like a Raiders of the Lost Ark shot where it's just people at computers monitoring Backrooms.
Yeah.
And that shot just goes on and on and on. You know, it'd be really cool if they just did it the whole way through the credits and the shot just kept going. Like Pearl, but for the Backrooms. One thing I would say, for something that's billed as a horror / sci-fi film, it wasn't actually very scary.
No.
To me. I thought the vacant, and then the whole thing was based on, vacant liminal spaces. But actually, mentioning Osgood Perkins earlier, I thought Longlegs was much scarier for me in terms of those frames where you're waiting for something to jump out at you. Because you're like, why is the camera there?
I'm a Longlegs hater. I thought it was
really.
I saw it late. I saw it after all the hype. Didn't really have any interest in it, and then all the hype. I thought it was an insult to horror movies to call that film a horror movie. Like, it wasn't a bad film, but I thought it was not a horror. It wasn't scary, and I also felt it was too reminiscent of Silence of the Lambs. And I do not agree that Silence of the Lambs is a horror movie. I know people say it is. I know that's a thriller.
Claire just dropping in with two amazingly hot takes right there. Longlegs is shit, and Silence of the Lambs is an horror film.
I'm not alone on the Silence of the Lambs as a horror thing. That's like a contention with a small number of us. But it basically is, how do you define a horror versus a thriller? And I would absolutely say both of those films are thrillers. With this, I think it toes the line between the two genres perfectly. But I understand exactly what you mean. My partner didn't find it scary at all. I found it scary at parts because I was just constantly anticipating. So when the guy goes down with the rope and slides down, obviously a bit of that was in the trailer anyway, but I 100% was like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And I scare myself. The movie doesn't even need to scare me. I scare myself. But I would very much rather it stuck to the less scary, or no, less cheap scares
Hmm.
Then I saw Hokum a couple of weeks ago. Hokum scared the shit out of me again because of the long corridors and the
Yeah.
waiting for the jump scares. And that film was jump scare, jump scare. It was like exhausting the amount of jump scares.
Once it kicks into gear, it doesn't stop till the end, does it?
No. And I actually much preferred, like I said up the top, the restraint of this film. Whilst it could have been scarier and you could have done more, and you definitely could have done more gross out stuff without having to be like jump scare, I think it was on the right side of it, but you're not wrong that it absolutely could have kicked it up more.
Long legs absolutely like splits opinion. Like I really enjoyed it. Told one of my friends to go and see it. And he's like, "What the fuck did you just make me watch?"
I was just so disappointed. I came out. I bumped into the guy who used to make the Prince Charles podcast because I was at the Prince Charles, and he was like, "Oh, you're going to see it?" And he was like, "Oh," I was like, "I don't know anything about it." And he's like, "Oh, that's great. Go in knowing nothing." And then I was just really disappointed, and like that felt just deeply reminiscent of 100 other things I've already seen, and it wasn't scary.
No, it wasn't scary, but I just remember there's a few bits in the start where the camera is just lingering,
Mm,
and it's like, why is the camera focusing on nothing there?
yeah,
Something is going to come out of that
yeah,
dark space, and this film did that a lot more. But
yeah,
I think once I kind of got with the vibe of the film, I was like, oh, it's not into doing that.
yeah.
I kind of relaxed,
Hmm.
and the film like is perfectly weighted in that sense because then it kind of moves on to okay, well you don't like you said with the Psycho
Yeah,
comparison where the second half right now we're going to tell the story from a different point of view,
yeah.
and we're kind of going to go and do the same thing again, but not really.
So I think I would get more scared the smaller the rooms got. It was definitely the claustrophobia. Like when he's doing his first, Chiwetel Ejiofor is doing his first explore, and he finds the little boarded up bit, and he finds the bag of information, and decides I'm going to crawl down this teeny tiny corridor. I'm just like, no, why? Why? There is so much else to explore. It's a massive, massive warehouse. Why have you got to go in the teeny tiny crawl space of which you have no escape?
My logic brain kicks in when I'm watching a film like this. I'll be like, right, I'm going to map that room, and he did do it, but we didn't see him doing it enough. I think I would like to see a bit more of him. Day one doing this, day two, right? He's gone to this room
Well,
and just kind of mark it because you see the map
yeah, and did
when he
you?
shows
Because
it.
my partner didn't clock it, but when Renette Renaissance goes back in and she finds the mural, there's all the scribbled text, and one of the bits of the text says the map has changed again, the layout has changed again.
Oh, I didn't see that. No,
Yeah, so is that because he's a rambling crazy man, or does the room remove things?
change.
Which I thought, because yeah, my partner was saying something about like I don't know why you wouldn't just have done this, and I was like because it said it changed, like it said it, but that was a blink and you'll miss it, and also was that true or was that rambling?
Rambling crazy man. Now, one thing I can think we can have in the bad in terms of plot is, and I know the answer to this question is because the plot needs it, but why, as a therapist, when one of your troubled patients comes in rambling about a secret room that takes you to another dimension, and then leaves you a message saying he's gone, and you're like, perhaps we should do a welfare check. Hello, police. Not go to his place of work, find the place, and wander in yourself without letting anyone know.
That was a real cos part. That made no sense. It maybe made sense for her to go to the store and just, do a little passing by welfare check. And even I could allow her going through the portal. But once through the portal, her choosing to have a good old stroll around, like that's a nope. That's a big fat no.
So, but we just see Clark and I can't remember what happens to him actually in the first bit.
They fall down the slide bit because the bed pushes them down. He gets split up from the young girl. The young boy's dead. Then you see him wandering around holding the camcorder, and then he gets to like the pool or the bathroom where she can supposedly see him from the other side, but he can only see the tiles. And he puts the camera down, and then you see in the back of the shot a figure comes in and picks the camera up, and that's when it cuts to black and it goes to Renette Rezav. So I really liked that
Good
because
memory.
we don't know what version of Clark we're gonna find. Is Clark dead?
Well, exactly. Like when we see Clark next, he is like say full on raving crazy man. It works what he does. It
Mm-hmm.
does definitely work well not showing us that because that's like the MO of the film from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you're expecting this. We're not going to show you that because you're expecting it. It's so weird that it does something unexpected by doing not a lot, if that
Yeah,
makes any sense.
it that's the whole point of the film, really, isn't it? Because the whole reason that the concept of the back room, this original photo, the whole reason it was on Creepypasta is because it's the absence of anything that
Yeah.
makes it so unnerving. And so, yeah, even within the script and the direction, the lack of doing anything is what makes us all so uncomfortable.
Have you got anything else on the bad?
I actually didn't. When you asked me to think of the bad, I was like, it's in no way a perfect film. I gave it 4 out of 5. So, like, obviously, it wasn't like the thing. But at the same time, there wasn't anything that I could put my finger on that I'd be like, I would change that. I would
Yeah.
want more of that. I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of them exploring with the camcorder before it cuts to Renate. Just in that I did really like the young couple, and it would have been nice to see a little bit more. And I was, when watching it, a bit like, oh damn, okay, that happened really quickly. They're all dead now. But again, when you compare it to something like Psycho, that completely makes sense. So yeah, whilst it was in no way perfect, I thought for everything it needed to be, it absolutely was what it needed.
I mean, this kind of brings me on to I've got two kind of what the fucks. One's just a really minor, okay, and then the other one. Actually, to be fair, like you say, it's not even that kind of film. It's the film is a what the fuck. It's
Yeah.
just in general. So, in minor terms, when they're having the most disturbing dinner table scene since Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he's like, "You can eat them."
Oh my
That was
god.
disturbing on so many levels.
That was such a good scene though, because again, I just really did not know what was happening. And I was like, I know that she has to survive for a small part because the picture of her on the film poster hasn't happened yet. So,
Ah,
so I was like, she has to at least get somewhere from here. But I was like, how and why? And I didn't think it would be because of a giant pirate
that is a trailer clip right there.
man.
Giant pirate man. Also, for me, what the fuck is, like I said, when I seen Lakita Maxwell, do you watch Shrinking?
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, great, Lakita Maxwell, Alice from Shrinking's in this. And no, she gets fridged like almost immediately after like they get down there. And that's going to be especially traumatizing after watching Shrinking. How would Jimmy deal with this? Like, it would not be good.
I mean, I have to say that's an Osgood Perkins special. He 100% gave Kane Parsons the number for his head guy, because I don't think I've ever seen a film that he's touched where someone doesn't end up beheaded in some way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the opening, the monkey, Jesus Christ.
I chose not to see that, and I'm pleased with my decision.
I enjoyed it, but then it kind of falls apart towards the end for me. I
Yeah.
was like, like for the first half an hour or so, you're just like, this is the best Final Destination film ever made. And then you get into the why, and you're like, oh no, not so much. Sadly.
Do you know what I would have actually really loved in some way is to have seen Clark's wife, because the what the fuck for me was the
Oh, the
conversation,
role plays.
the role
Yeah.
play. I was just like, this fucking actually no, that's the biggest what the fuck, when he scalped the woman and made her wear the scalped head wig.
Oh yeah,
That
that's it.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was the squelch. Oh my god, it made me want to vomit. That was 100%. That's the biggest what the fuck. The role plays were weird. Making someone wear a wig made of someone else's scalp, that's disgusting.
Well, the last thing I kind of want to mention is like, I feel like if Backrooms is Kane Parsons' Alien,
Mm-hmm.
corridors, dread,
Mm-hmm.
I want Backrooms 2, Backrooms Boogaloo, to be aliens. I want bigger, more insane. I want a larger cast of people investigating this phenomenon. I want, is this inherent danger posing to the larger world at
Mm-hmm.
wide? Is it like, is the next film is just going to open it up to the town maybe? Or are they going to go
Mm.
bigger and like, no, it's worldwide? There's so much you could do with it.
I would like one of two things, very similar but slightly different takes on it. Either a Suicide Squad-esque one where they put a load of people down there and are like, we're going to study you, you probably won't survive. Or a bit like Don't Breathe, a bunch of criminals accidentally on the run end up in the back rooms.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways they could take it, isn't there?
Yeah, I want people who get almost like trapped down there because they're escaping something worse. And you get like one of those final girl shots at the end of like someone in like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where she's in the back of the car and she's like, woo, something like that.
I mean, it's almost like the original ending of the Descent, isn't it? Where like, oh, they're out. Oh no, you're still in the back rooms.
Yeah, I want that.
And that is our trip into the back rooms concluded. Huge thank you to Claire from the W Rated podcast for joining us as we wandered endless corridors, questioned our own sanity, and tried to figure out whether Kane Parsons has just delivered the future of horror filmmaking or simply the most stressful office environment ever put on screen. Let us know what you thought of Backrooms. Did this film successfully turn internet nightmare fuel into a feature-length experience? Did the liminal horror get under your skin? Or did you spend most of the runtime wondering where the nearest exit sign was? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you somehow found yourself trapped in an infinite maze of yellow wallpaper and flickering fluorescent lights, remember, stay quiet, keep moving, and definitely don't eat anything. Don't forget, we're available on all major podcast platforms, and you can see us as well as hear us if you subscribe and follow us on YouTube and Spotify. And for our guest, Claire, where can people find you and the W Rated podcast online?
Yes, you can find me almost anywhere at Claire Ellen Hope, Claire without an I. And you can find the podcast at most places at W Rated Pod. We're on YouTube and Spotify and Apple, and then we're on most social medias. And yeah, please give us a follow, please give us a listen, please give us some constructive feedback. Please don't give us negative feedback, or I will make an entire new type of episode dedicated to your negative feedback.
That sounds like a threat, and also an episode I'd like to hear. And if you want more We Needed Roads nonsense, you can follow us on our socials at Needy Roads on Twitter, We Needed Roads on Instagram, and We Needed Roads Podcast on TikTok. And you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory78 on Threads, where I'm most active, to be fair, these days. I did a post about the new Minions film. I took a picture from a screen grab of it, and it was the Minions with what looks like Cthulhu, basically, a little octopus-faced green minion. And I was like, oh, cool. So, and I think my post was something along the lines of, so the new Minions movie is a recruitment tool to get a generation of kids hooked on Lovecraft, and it's got 44,000 views in the last couple of days. I'm just like...
Well, I have a TikTok with something like, it's got 40,000 similarly views, and it's just of an escalator. It had hundreds of likes, and thousands, and like tens of thousands of views, and it's of an escalator. So I will never understand the algorithm.
Yeah, anyone who says they know how this works just wants your money. Yeah. I am also on a Substack at Neil Needed Roads, where if you subscribe on there for free, you will get all the latest episodes of the We Need Roads podcast as soon as they drop, before anywhere else. And until next time, if reality starts feeling a little bit off, check the balls, you might already be in the back room.
We Needed Roads.